Yeah, we grew up with that.
Used to, you might need to throw a used to on that.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember that.
I wish you brother. I got you, brother. 2001, his brother started a newspaper in Brooklyn, New York, called Four Corners. And I wanted to pivot from what I was doing at Higher Mike. I was the assistant manager of that operation. But they hosted a meeting in our venue to speak about this idea about this hip hop newspaper. And I had went to school for journalism on the college tour. I only lasted a year and a half, but I still went there. And I wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn, yo, I want to figure out how to be involved, how to participate. And I started writing for the newspaper. Initially, I started off writing, then I became staff editor, then I became the assistant, then I became the chief editor. And that put me in a position to make decisions for the paper. And his brother brought a bunch of articles to me. He's like, yo, I need to read this to see if this brother, you know, is writing these articles is cool if he can rock with us. Immediately, I was like, whoever this is, call him now, tell him he got the job. Matter of fact, he's gonna need to get him off. And his brother was the black guy. And the black guy at the time was driving a New York City bus. He was working for the MTA, driving the bus. But he was the illest writer that I had ever seen up until that point. After Bones Malone, who was the reason that I wanted to write. You know what I'm saying? I was inspired by this writer that I used to read growing up, reading the Source magazine, Bones Malone. He had a crazy pen game. And that's what I had wanted to tap into, you know what I'm saying? So Black Guy reminded me of Bones Malone, and I said, without a shadow of a doubt, this brother, you know what I'm saying? He needs to be on deck. And then Black Guy came around, and we started comparing notes, you know what I'm saying? And me and him were attending these lectures in Brooklyn at the time, where we were saying all this amazing information, but everybody in the room was elders. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, this information sounds like it's cutting edge. And he's talking, they're making prophecies about the future, but they're speaking to my conscience because I'm into this. This is like the shit that I used to study when I was younger. Nobody's talking like this no more, right? Everything in the streets was dead. You know what I mean? And there was no consciousness in New York at the time. But there was a community that was underground. And Reverend Phil Valentine and Bobby Emmett and Dr. Delbert Blair were the preeminent lecturers on this circuit. You know, my mother used to go to lectures and things like that. It was nothing that I was excited to participate. I didn't want to stop what I'm doing in the street with all this excitement and go into some lecture. You know what I'm saying? But when I started going to see Dr. Phil Valentine, it was exciting again. He was speaking to the child that grew up on comic books inside of me. He thought that he was a superhero at that tender age. That can nobody tell me that we were not capable of a victory. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we the X-Men. What you talking about? That's right. Right?
It looked so bleak back then. I mean, I don't think people understand. We talking 2001, 2002, and we being told by our teachers that we already won.
That's right.
We did what? They like, we already won.
Right. And this was during the Dipset era. That's right.
Right. So the blanket of darkness was so. It wasn't no wokeness. It wasn't no woke rappers. It wasn't none of that. So to hear these things, not only did you have to have the utmost confidence, but you had to have Thundercat vision, sight beyond sight. You understand? So it was that charge that they gave the youth. We was the youth at that time. Where Rich at? Where brother Rich?
He went outside real quick. He went outside.
Rich was one of the people that was there. King Simon was there too.
Yes,
King
sir.
Simon, raise your hand, man.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
King
yeah.
Simon.
Yeah.
Clap it up for King Simon. King Simon actually is coming to the stage.
What's up?
You coming to the stage. He's gonna be a guest of ours. And what he's gonna be doing for the audience is he's gonna be helping y'all with your destiny through your numbers and whatnot. We're gonna be doing live demonstrations about real-time transformation because I'm sure everybody in here can use a reading, right? About your destiny and your path.
And let me clarify, I do advisory, I don't read, I consult and advise you. Y'all don't need readings, y'all need to know how to maximize and activate your numbers. Y'all need to be read. Y'all know who y'all grown ass people know y'all self. I don't need to do that.
Yeah, I feel that.
Y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? Children need a reading. Grown people need advice.
And, you know, just looking at it fast forward in 2024 and just seeing the global movement that has been spawned, you know, to see the vendors in the building, how they stepping it up with their business and whatnot, to see the families and whatnot, to see everything, to see the youth. It's a watershed moment. Like, I don't think we really, because when you moving, you don't get time to sit back and appreciate it. But I don't really think that we're appreciating how far we've come as a people. You might have woke up yesterday, but I'm here to let you know this is a very long legacy. And we standing on shoulders as people who laid this shit down in the 1920s, y'all. The Nobles were our leaders, the Elijahs, the Marcus Garveys, like, they literally came and shook this shit up. You know what I mean? And we just trying to, our best, we are just keeping up with the tradition and whatnot. So I'm gonna let Blue get into his presentation. You dig what I'm saying? And then we'll take a quick break. We got about 30 minutes, and then we're gonna do a break, and then we'll come back. You good with that?
Yep.
All right, let's do
Let
it.
me get it rocking.
All right.
So, again, you know, he asked an amazing question, why Black myth story? And again, I feel that we need a myth. I feel that we are, you know, an active mythos. We just need to own it and claim it. You know what I mean? We are actively participating in the myth. I cannot explain who we are utilizing literalism. You know what I'm saying? We're not irrational people. We're very irrational as people. You know what I'm saying? Some people is like, I didn't come here on a boat. I was already here. Cool. Let's have respect for everyone else's legacy. We all here together in a gumbo, in a pot. And we not who our ancestors were. We should allow ourselves the ability to become a new people. That's not meaning that we're cutting off or dismissing who they say that we were or where we came from. But collectively, as we are here experiencing this thing in the now, it transforms us, and we are people who are new people with a story that deserves to be told, right? The determination of that story is up to us to tell, right? The outcome of that story is up to us to fulfill, but it's already been written, and the victory is ours.
That's
So,
right.
with that, I also want to consecrate this year as the Mamba mentality year, right? Or the Kobe year. Kobe. And Kobe stood for Mamba mentality, okay? And I feel that that's a discipline that we're definitely going to need to adopt because, as our brother King Simon said, the word of the year is discipline. The word of last year was discernment. So, red and blue are twins, right? We look alike, we're not the same. 2023, right? 2023 looked like something that's going to be almost identical to 2024, but they are not the same. You feel me? There's similarities, but they're going to be distinctively different, right? They're going to appear to be the same, but they're going to be distinctively different. You feel me? Let's say 23 was Jordan, right? 24 is Kobe. So we know that Kobe mirrored Jordan, right, with his moves. But Jordan didn't have a rape charge. They had totally different lives, is what I'm trying to say, right? It could look one way on the court, but these are totally distinctive individuals. They come to represent totally different generations. You feel me? He represented something of an older paradigm. He represented something that grafted from this paradigm that created a new paradigm. It's going to be the same thing with this year. 23 represented the ending of an epoch and an era, right? Let's take astrological signs. They tell stories about generations. Pluto in particular. A lot of us, the way that we identify ourselves, oh, I'm a Pluto and Libra person. I'm a Pluto and Scorpio person. I'm a Pluto and Venus person. Meaning you were born during a specific generation, and that generation denotes how you were being changed and transformed during your generation. Me and this man, we was born in Pluto and Libra. Libra's relationship, Pluto's transformation. We grew up during a generation where relationships was changed. Right? We were born in 75. We were the latchkey generation. The relationship changed because the children became the parents. Never before had that happen. Right? Never before had that happened at massive scale where you could observe it like, wow, this is a thing. Children wasn't raising children because single parent homes was not the thing and mothers was not going and working 2 or 3 jobs. That wasn't happening until the 70s. So we lived in the Pluto and Libra generation, right? Other children grew up in the Pluto and Scorpio generation, Pluto and Capricorn, Pluto and Sag, and things of that nature, right? 2024 is going to be the Pluto and Aquarius era. It started on January 20th of this year, and it's going to be here for 20 years, until 2044, right? For the 20 years, we're going to be inundated in a transformation of humanity. Aquarius is humanity, Pluto's transformation. We're looking at a total transformation of humanity, and we're standing at the cusp of it. Right? Give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah. And people fighting it already. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, things is about to get better. Nah, wow. Like, really, like, let's take a look at this. I remember what December felt like. I remember what time it looked like. On January 1st, the war eased up. It just did. And then they dragging people to court, and it's like, you don't see the same atrocities, and I don't know if it's a media thing, because I'm like, damn, did they get the people food yet, or what? Because ain't nobody saying nothing. Right. Right? It's just they reporting it different, so you don't see it on the timeline no more. Right. But you can see there was an energy shift and a change. You feel me? I don't even know what's going on in Ukraine no more. Where? So, shout out to our good brother, Dr. Be Serious, right? Wow. One of the most preeminent things that he brought this community that has transformed the people who have utilized it is the allowance, right? Allowing yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, and again, challenging the catechisms, right? The I am catechism. That's a I am, you know, that's a catechism, and we need to understand it for what it is. But the art of allowing, the architecture of allow, and the act of allowance. You know, these are things that we need to participate and practice, you know, so we don't fall into this whole concept of you gotta be perfect shit. And some people mistake consciousness for, right? This fake perfection that people have, you know, they're gonna fake it till you make it type of energy. It's like, nah, just allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to be human. You know what I'm saying? Allow yourself to actually go on this journey. This journey comes with bumps and scrapes and bruises. You gotta allow yourself the lows for the highs. You feel me? You gotta allow yourself the growth that's needed and necessary for us to become who we're ultimately gonna be, transformed into over these 20 years. Right? All right? And they was like, man, you know, people was in their feelings because I told people, allow yourself on January 1st not to fall into the, you know, the dark hole of, yo, this ain't the new year. Because I'm like, I've been in this for 30 years. And I've been able to watch certain things when it comes to consciousness. And I'll be like, them people that be online talking about January 1st ain't the new year, do not be the people doing nothing on March 21st or April 1st when the spring come around. Right? I'm like, they just Debbie Downers for other people that they see celebrating. It's the same thing with Thanksgiving. And look, I used to be the main one. I was the main one. Right?
In the party.
Yeah, it's a my folks is like, damn, you know, today on my timeline, shit, like, it's still family time, like, don't forget that. Miss all this shit. Understand that your people want to see you, you know what I'm saying? And we know that there might be this other stuff going on, but don't forget this. So I'm like, for the sake of what you're gonna be looking for when you get past the threshold of, oh, my family's, you know what I'm saying, because they ain't no good because they ain't tell me this information. Or now they don't know what I know. We all go through transformation. And some of it turns us dark. Some of us makes us have contempt, you know, with the people that did not tell us because they did not know. But I'm like, don't be like that. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta let go of things. Like, you didn't know, you're better off, you know, as a result of the fact that you do know, but that will make you better than. You know what I'm saying? You still got an obligation to go back and explain it to somebody. But to a degree, what it's like, you can fully function in reality and acknowledge both of these situations, right? So I brought this up to explain that science found out that you exist simultaneously in 11 dimensions, right? So I can entertain January 1st being the new year. I can entertain April 1st being the new year. I can entertain the fact that the Mayan New Year is July 25th. I can entertain the fact that Rastafari New Year is September 11th. I was a New York City student, so I was Jewish by default because we had to participate in holiday holidays. So I don't know if they was like, yeah, y'all probably Israelites.
Ditto, because I don't know.
But they just pulling you with them.
You remember Dick Gregory said, once if the bank closes on their day, we celebrate their house. That's it.
So this is the architecture of, you know, our minds. Like when I talk about these numbers and things of that nature, I'm speaking about objects. I'm not just speaking about numbers. To my mind. You know what I'm saying? When I'm talking about 44s, I'm speaking about objects and numbers. More so, I'm speaking about architecture. So this is what 2D simplex, you know, a person that lives in 2 dimensions, like you stuck in dualism, right? Black and white, right and left, good and bad, right? That's 2D. 3D, that's where the majority of the world is at. I don't know how they jumped over 4D and they was talking about 5D. I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. You know, 6D, 7D, all the way to 11 dimensions, we can exist in simultaneously, right? You are that powerful of a quantum computer. The science found out that you exist 11 dimensions, and we know that it's way more than that. But let's just focus on 11, right? Our brains can create multiverse-like structures unlike anything we've ever seen. And this is old information, right? These are just how some of the stuff looks. If you see down here, these are like the synapses in the brain, how memories are processed. Right down here, it's a 5 neuron clip. It looks like a pentagram. You know what I'm saying? In science, there's a big difference in how our brain processes the numbers 4 and 5. This is why I don't know what happened to the 4th dimension with these 5th dimension guys. I don't know how they jumped over 4D. Like 4D is deep. We just jumping over that. We just not having that conversation that we're going straight to 5D, huh, y'all? So that's even how our brain operates. Our brain, there's a big difference in our brain how we process the numbers 4 and 5. So they're not processing 4, they just jump straight to 5. So this is the tesseract. Again, when we talk about geometry, when I'm looking at the brain, when I'm looking at how things operate in this dimension, this is what 4D looks like. You live in a cube, within a cube, within a cube, within a cube, right? Things that seem like they don't have no correlation or connection to one another are always touching or just passing by one another or overlapping. This is what reality looks like to me, in my mind, when I'm thinking about reality. You feel me? This is a tesseract. This is 4D. right? Fourth dimension, a straight line is only one dimension, the square has two dimensions, the cube has three dimensions, time and space, right, is a tesseract. We all exist here. It's not just me. I'm not just saying just because I identify with it, this is the quote unquote. No, we all exist in this particular reality, attempting to reconcile the relationship that we have to time and space, which is another conscious trope that it doesn't exist. We'll discuss that, right? Because it doesn't, right? It's a conundrum. The geometry of the fourth dimension of time and space, right? This is the geometry of it. Right? So Einstein came along and he kind of like helped them coin the passage of the fourth dimension. My thing is this, right? So we can just eradicate it from the door. Point, right? Let's say it's just space, right? And you get a point on a black dot. You know, that's one thing. Once that point becomes a line, time automatically exists. Because now you're dealing with measurement, and that's all time is. Time is a measurement of the distance between point A and point B. That's all time is. Right? Without matter, there will be no time. The minute that matter comes into play, time exists. Without matter, no time. It's just simple as that. You know me? Here goes time in a nutshell. Right? This is why I have consecrated my understanding and observation of time down to a formula that's very, very simple for me to understand. I call it the law of 44. Because in 24 hours is 1,440 minutes. There goes your 144,000 you will be looking for. Within 1,440 minutes is 86,400 seconds. Right? And then you start cutting that in half. Now, all of this right here, we notice these numbers. These are all of the vibrational, high vibrational frequency numbers people be talking about. 432, that's the heart. Right? 144, that's the ideal hertz. 864, that's universal. Right? And it keeps rippling into itself. 369, you feel me? You can add all of this up and it keeps adding itself into itself. Right? So, this concept of 44 and this relationship to 144 is this. April 4th equals 144, and the word 44 equals 144. Right? Time equals 144. Now, this is the matrix. This is taking words and reducing them to numbers. And if two words got the same number, then they're related. They have a connection. They have a magnetism and a correlation to one another. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for me to say, when I see 44, I see 144, because right here they both qualify one another. But when I go one step further, right? Again, we showed you on the seconds how it broke down to 86,400 seconds is a quote unquote a day of time, which is 1,440 minutes. Right? Here it all goes right here. 44 breaks down to 144, and it breaks down to 864. So to me, it's time. Right? It's time in a nutshell, but it's time exactly how I showed you through the geometry of a tesseract, a cube within a cube. Right? God within itself is a cube. At least the God of the Greco-Roman society, or what they call Judaism or Christianity. Yahweh equals the number 26. Right? 26 is 13 plus 13, or 4 plus 4. Right? Okay, again, so the tesseract is a four-dimensional analog of the cube. The tesseract is to the cube as the cube is to the square. You understand that? Can anybody explain that? So a square is 2D and a cube is 3D, right? So a square is to a cube, and a cube is 3D, but a tesseract is 4D, right? So a square is a cube, but a tesseract is a cube within a cube, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? We live in a box or a square body, but we're within this building. This building is within this city is within this state within this country is within this continent. This continent is within, you know what I'm saying? So it's boxes upon boxes upon boxes upon boxes, and I don't know whether this shit is flat or round. My master teachers told me it's both. He said it's like a soccer ball. Flat some places and round in others. That works. That works. But I always want to be the center of my reality. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love seeing things in shapes and geometries. So I don't have to buy into rhetoric. It's like, no, I reduce it to numbers. And when I get the number, then I go directly to the shape. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I process my reality. I'm at the center at all times of my reality. And again, as you can see, these are all the three religions. All of them are based on cubes. It's not even a conversation. Right? They're all based on cubes. The Star of David is cubed out. I mean, forget about it. It's cubed out. Right? The Kaaba, we know what that is. That's the black cube. That's Saturn within itself. You feel me? And then the cross is a cube. Just turn inside out. Anybody ever worked at FedEx? Y'all had to do boxes and turn them inside out? Right? That's all the box. That's all the cube is. The cube. The cross is this. The cross is the cube unboxed. Right? That's what it is. And the Hasidics, we used to grow up. You know, we grew up around them Crown Heights. Y'all seen them on the news the other day with the tunnels? Right there. They are the Lubavitch Hasidic community at 770 Eastern Parkway. They are the biggest subset of the smallest group of people that nobody knows about. Right? They've been had some. They look like the dudes from Lord of the Rings. No, they look like the ones on Harry Potter. What's the guy? Huh? Green Dots? Yeah, little Mendes with the nut. Yeah, Green Dots.
What a good description.
You would see them on Saturdays, all black, right? They would have the furry. You think my furry can't go with something? They used to have the furry joints, all black, to go all the way around like the ring of Saturn with the top hat, all furry, like a furry kangaroo.
Oh, wow.
You feel me? And then they would walk around with the black boxes on their head with the inscriptions on it, doing prayer rituals all day. Right? And they would bring the chickens out there and sacrifice.
In the street.
In the street, they would sacrifice, when I say like a U-Haul full of chickens, family. Talking like 500 of them joints. They would sacrifice them right there in the streets and leave them there in the hood. Right? And so later on in my studies, I found out exactly what it is. That one, they absorbing sins off of, they're using, because the God of the Old Testament was all about animal sacrifice. Now, I didn't know this till the damn preacher. But every week that I do my sermon, and we go in the Old Testament, God wants burnt offerings, sin offerings, guilt offerings, and some shit called wave offerings. I don't even know what that is right. But all of it there was animal sacrifice. Right? So they picked up after that. And they do chicken sacrifices to absolve one another from the sins, but you're supposed to discard of the chicken when you're finished with it in a specific way. They would always leave those chickens in the streets, and we occupied those streets with them in Crown Heights. We cohabitated communities with the melanated people, and they would speak about, you know, oh, these curses are going to visit the firstborn of whoever is not covered for these curses. You know, this is stuff that we see with our own up. Right? You know, the cross is deep, very ancient historic. Shout out to right? Metatron cube. Okay, this is another symbol. This is another shape. It's called a platonic solid. You can find all of the platonic solids. You can find them, right? Of which these are them, all within the table for Beztron's cube. Again, heavy emphasis on the cube. When they say the New Jerusalem is supposed to come after God does the rapture, that everything is what? A gold cube. They said that the whole city would be a cube. Everything is a cube. Right? From rocks to icebergs, the natural world tends to break into cubes. So again, I don't have evidence of whether the earth is flat or round, but I do have evidence that the earth naturally forms cubes. Right? If left alone, it will naturally form itself into cubes. Right? Scientists discovered a seemingly universal rule of how stuff falls apart. When it entropes and it falls back into itself, it falls back into cubes. Plato was right, Earth was made on average of cubes, right? So again, this right here in the corner, this is the cross. The cross is just a cube, just a box, unboxed. That's all it is. Right? Again, in the most basic unit of measurement, right, is they measure things by square feet, right? Because we live in boxes. So how else are you going to measure a box? But you know what I'm saying? You got to utilize the measurement of a box to measure a box. So a square foot is 144 inches.
Hey, Blue, would it veer off too much to say what significance the 9 play? It seemed like 9 keep popping up in the addition of some of these numbers.
Well, I mean, 9 is a spherical number. It's that number that reroutes itself back into itself. So there's only but, 9 digits. Well, I count 0 as the number as well.
Right.
But after that, I got to come back. Okay, so this is January. We're in the month of January. We, rather than convincing people what it is versus what it ain't, right? We need a more thorough understanding of what it exactly is. So rather than me trying to convince you of whether January is the new year or not, I'm like, let's figure out what the power of January is and then weigh it against the evidence, right? So they said in Roman mythology, Janus was the god of doors, gates, and transitions. Janus represents the middle ground between both concrete and abstract dualities, such as life, death, beginning and end, youth, adulthood, rural, urban, war, peace, barbarianism, and civilization. All of those things was at play come January. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, January is giving exactly what it promises to give. Because right away, in the beginning of January, right, before we jump into that, so we could say in the Gregorian calendar year, it's the first month. We could say in the Julian calendar year, so the Julian calendar year goes Oct is 8, Nov is 9, Sept is 7, right? According to the decimals. December would be the 10th month, January would be at 11. If we were still counting according to the seasons, right? February is the 12th, March is the beginning of the astrological new year, and what have you. So, you can see the 2 to 1s, the 3s, the 11s, all of that is popping in January, right? January is the beginning or the opening of the way. In African traditional systems, right, of which they also ceremoniously celebrate the ending of the year, the beginning of the year, the new year, because you get the new year reading for the new year in January in African traditional systems. You don't get them later, like in July and June and shit like that. You get it in January, and they're all the way in Africa, right? But S.O.U.L is the opener of the way. He's the trickster, right? His colors are red and black. He's the Joker. So it's no coincidence, right? That we would see the beginning of the year start off with a trickster or a comedian or a jokester, right? Who sets the tone for the year. You feel me? Or there's a leg bar shit. And he came through with the captain's, wheel on his chain with the word woke written on it. Right? This is what they call the star of banana, right? This is the 8-pointed star, and I think this star is the Seal of Solomon star, something like that. Another 8-pointed star, right? And of course, these symbols represent deities that are dealing with transitionary periods and points in time. And, you know what I'm saying? Ishtar would be Easter, so she represents resurrection, things of that nature. Okay. Right here on this stage in 2020, me and the brother A. Rashid, and on July 25th, which was the day out of time, the Mayan New Year, right? Because the Mayans have a day at a time, they have a 0 day. Me and the brother A. Rashid did a lecture here in 2020 called Dark Matter Timing, which was DMT initials. And we kind of did that to break the spell that they had on people about COVID, you know, that we couldn't gather together or what have you. And we broke that. And me and the brother actually did another one of these lectures September 10th of last year. So we did another Dark Matter Timing. So to see the brother come through with a Dark Matter tour, and again, DMT was the initials of our initial community. It was called the Dark Matter Think Tank. You know, with Dr. Valentine and the elders formulated in New York City, when they passed us the baton and told us to get this information around the world, it was called the Dark Matter Think Tank. It was called Conscious Community. Right? $62 trillion per gram. If anybody's out there scrambling with the gremlins, look, 62 trillion. Get you a gram of this antimatter stuff, and you in the building, right? Trap or die, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They got that antimatter out there that we need to. Yeah. Yeah. All of this we passed through a dark matter hurricane at the same time that, you know, the world was doing this thing. So this is, you know, the solar flare was popping heavy during the end of December, coming into January. This was signaling the coming of what's called the solar cycle 25, which is when the sun's going to wake up this year in a way which, you know, unprecedented. And we stand to benefit from that. And that's the importance of us really having the mythos. Because if we don't understand our relationship to the sun, we're going to be hearing the news that somebody else is going to be talking about, thinking that they're talking to us. Right? And they're like, the sky is falling and, you know, the sun is not being fair to us. And you over there putting pounds of sunscreen on, coming outside like,
Not fair.
I seen the news. They ain't talking to you.
Right.
They ain't even thinking about you, goddammit. They talking to one another about how bad they got it in the goddamn weather.
You're right, dude.
And we over here thinking that everything that they say, they saying,
They melting.
you know, but that's not the case. We're not factored into the equation. You know? Okay, so you see my dude?
Oh, you had some great words.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
In January, again, regardless of whether it's the first month or not, you know, we've seen them 11-11s popping off though. Right? We've seen that Janus energy giving what it gives. You feel me? Yeah, this is just 44 energy. Right? All of this 44 energy just denotes what's going on with this particular campaign. All of it comes under the energy of 44, right? Because they're dealing with, you know, yeah, they disrespected them online. His name was Deborah. But again, if we would notice that all of these brothers that participated in this particular situation, Virgos, big Virgo,
Yeah, they
right?
are.
Big Virgo energy. Shout out Big Virgo. Right? And there's a few more that we can put on there since then that I didn't get an update with. Right?
Yeah, Virgo's gonna jump.
And a lot of people, they be in their own feelings about what they consider distractions to be. My thing is like, the stuff that happens with stars and celebrities are gonna be clear indicators this year as to how the energy is gonna matriculate. So nothing is a distraction. You feel me? So even with the ladies battling right now in hip hop, right? That's something that we need to look at because it has an astrological import attached to it. Megan Thee Stallion is Aquarius. The minute that we came into the sign of Aquarius, this battle pops off. The minute that the moon went into Leo, then she gets attacked by Nicki Minaj, who's a Sagittarius, right? But she got a she's an Aquarius rising, right? I believe. Huh?
We think jury's still out.
No.
You think she is? She's an Aquarius, right?
Yeah. She's Aquarius. This year we're gonna see, I believe, the breaking of big stories, right? You know, what we seen with Puff last year, that was just a precursor to the hornet's nest getting fully exposed this year. And I think this year we're gonna finally find out who killed Big. I think last year they kind of got an idea of Tupac did and gained some traction. But we're gonna see a lot taking place with Biggie Smalls because the Haley Bop comment is coming back. And nobody really explains it like this. But when Big got killed on March 9th of '97, the Haley Bop comment was passing over, and it was a solar eclipse taking place. Not like the one that's coming in April, but it was still a solar eclipse, and it was a comet passing over, and this man's name was Christopher Wallace.
Didn't Eternal Weight catch they tried to catch the comment? Remember they had the cult that committed suicide?
The cult committed suicide 2 days afterwards.
Right. Tried to test the killers.
Yeah, there was a cult, a very famous cult called there was a doomsday cult,
Eternal Weight.
Heaven's Gate, right?
Yeah.
Heaven's Gate. And, you know, they were a cult. So their leader convinced them that this particular comet passing over had a starship connected to it, of which a lot of people said then, and they're still saying today, that there was a ship that was connected to that comet. And these people committed suicide in mass a few days after Big's murder, because I think Big got killed, then Life After Death, the album came out at the end of the month of March. That was around the time that they
Killed
did
themselves.
that. They took themselves out. It was 30-something of them. They committed suicide to catch this particular comet. So comets have Christ mythology connections. Solar eclipses have Christ mythology connections. Children named Christopher have Christ mythology connections. Now I'm not saying that Biggie Smalls was the return of Jesus Christ. I'm just saying that he was a very instrumental figure because we still exist in his dream today. So if you think that Puff was pretty much a dominant force in advising how melanated people acted and operated mentally, specifically for 30 years, he did it all because of that man's dream, right? We weren't living in Puffy's dream. We was living in Biggie's dream vicariously. You know what I'm saying? It was given by us by way of Puff. Okay. Yes. And with that, good family, we need to take a break. How long is this break gonna be? We're gonna take a 5-minute break, and we're gonna get back and finish the shake. Okay?